What up, my people? Tag. DB's it. Well, in this tag video, I was tagged by my boy OG Dogman, John Castro, and it's called 13 Questions Tag. So I have the 13 questions wrote down, and I'm about to answer every single one of them. This DB. And I'm about to take you behind the nonsense, baby. So, in this tag, I know some of these are just supposed to be one bottles, but some of these I feel are two bottle worthy. So, it's going to be a little bit of a long one. I'll try to go through it as fast as I can. So, let's get to question number one. Newest edition. So, my newest edition is one I just did a review on not too long ago. And I have to admit, I'm pretty impressed by it, and it's my first that I've ever put on or reviewed. I have others, I just never put them on or reviewed, and that is Dunhill Desire Extreme. This is my newest. This was gifted to me by Kingdom Fragrances, and I absolutely find it to be a rather nice addition to my collection for what I consider a cheapie, because I know they're not all that expensive. So, number two, the oldest in my collection. So, I like tobacco fragrances, make no doubt about it. This is a new bottle that I required, but I've had this in my collection since long before I've had anything else, and I bought it brand new. And that is my favorite, London. This is, Burberry London is, it's just so classic, so timeless. If you have not smelled it, which if you haven't, you've been living under a rock. But if you haven't and you like tobacco fragrances, that's one of the better, cheaper fragrances. So let's go to number three. Let me find my pen so I can cross these off so I don't forget who, what, where, when, why, and how. Hold on 1 second. Well, there it is. All right. The most expensive in my personal collection that I have is, I will not open the box, guys, I'm sorry. But this is not the original box it's in, but this is Black Phantom by Kilian. And it is absolutely one of my favorite, yet expensive. I think I paid $250, $260 with the coffre and everything. So I absolutely love Black Phantom. Is definitely my favorite Kilian by far. Number four, most affordable. I got this semi-cheap, and I have not reviewed this yet, and I should review it. It's in the back of my closet. I've never even sprayed it. And that is Marc Ecko Unlimited. $7.99. I found it on sale at one of those rack shops, and I just decided to go ahead and scoop it up while it was on sale. I'd seen it other places for roughly 20 bucks, but I saw that one for $7.99. It felt like at the time it's something I wanted to have. So at number four was my most affordable. Number five, what I reached for the most. Now, I haven't had this very long, but it is a inspiration of what I would wear constantly. If you guys know, obviously I have a YouTube channel. I'm on it now. And I have so many fragrances. I wear one a day. And I have not repeated one yet. I have gone back and revisited some fragrances that I had to, but I have not reworn any yet. But if I was, then Xerjoff Naxos by Dapper Fragrances would be one that I would want to wear every single time that I went anywhere and did anything. So at number five, which one I've reached for the most? My favorite bottle design of what I have. I'm only doing of what I have. Some of these I will not have, but I will have something to show you of it. But my favorite bottle designs of what I have to go to Killian. This is Dark Lord, and I just feel like, you know, the way the bottle looks, I love black. Black's one of my favorite colors. And I have another one. I know a lot of people would disagree, but I love that bottle. I think Parfums de Marly has some of the best bottles. Hard, probably it would take a ton to break these. I just feel like they're so simplistic, but yet they're so beautifully crafted. So those are my two. So at number 6 was my favorite bottle design. Smallest bottle. I don't know how to respond to smallest bottle because I have a ton of decants. So I just thought what I would think would be the best. And of course, Dua doesn't sell much bigger than this. But this here is also a Xerjoff Naxos clone that is very nice itself. So this is the smallest bottle I own, and I really, really like this one. So at number 7 was my smallest bottle. Now, my biggest bottle, I do not really have a biggest bottle, but I did own a 200 ml of Versace's Pour Homme. That was the biggest bottle that I have ever owned, is 200 ml. I am normally around the 125 ml type guy, so the 200 ml was the biggest bottle I've ever had. So at number 8 was my biggest bottle. Now, you've got to come across something that says the most memorable. And I forgot to bring it out. I do have the bottle. The most memorable fragrance I ever put on that I'll never forget is Xerjoff Naxos. I feel like when you put Xerjoff Naxos on, you can't forget, number 1, the compliments you get. Number 2, the way it smells, the way it projects. Everything about Xerjoff Naxos is top notch in my opinion. So at number 9 was my most memorable fragrance. Now, number 10, worth the hype. I have 2 that have been hyped. Actually, I really got 3, so I'll just go ahead and do all 3 of them. All 3 of these to me are worth all the hype they get. People are going to disagree. I don't care. Actually, one of these doesn't get enough hype, but should. So I'll tell you which one. The first one that deserves all the hype, because I think it's worth the hype, is Club de Nuit Intense Man. I feel like of all things that you should have in your collection, one, simply because it's the king, is a bottle of Creed Aventus. Now, I've owned a couple. I just simply do not like it. I feel like I'll get to that. It's next. But you also have to have a real good clone of Creed Aventus, and that's where Club de Nuit Intense Man comes from. The next one that I feel is majorly worth the hype is Bentley Intense for Man. I feel like that is probably one of the most underrated but overhyped fragrances, but I feel like this is totally worth the hype. I just don't understand how anybody can smell Bentley Intense for Men and be like, this sucks. I don't know how you can put your nose on this and say it sucks in any way, shape, or form. I could see where you say, it's okay, but you can't say it sucks. So at number 10, worth the hype. Now, anybody who ever watches my channel for a lengthy period of time ought to already know the answer to this question. At number 11, not worth the hype. Not this particular batch, but I don't have a bottle, but that would be Creed Aventus. This 10J01 batch is phenomenal. But I feel like Creed Aventus as a whole is way overhyped and not worth the hype it gives. I feel, in my personal opinion, that it's too expensive, especially when I feel like, excuse me guys, allergies are terrible today. Especially when I feel like you can get clones that are way better. To me, something that is worth the hype is something you can't clone and gets a ton of hype. To me, Aventus has been cloned so many times, and a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, have come real close. If not, some of them are almost dead spot on with a few differences. So it's not worth the hype if you can make it if somebody else can make it what it is. And I'm not talking about clone houses. I'm talking about Club Dean DeWeet and Tense Man comes very close to Aventus. Afnan Silver Supremacy comes very close. I could keep going down the line of how many of these simply come close. Duas 13ZZ comes really close. I know they're a clone house. I know I should have left that one out. But nonetheless, just companies who are their own company, not a clone house itself. So at number 11, not worth the hype. So I'll go ahead and put this in one of my favorite frags. Since I've already mentioned Naxos, everybody knows that's my favorite, next to Black Phantom and Red Tobacco. But here lately, one of my favorite frags who I feel like don't get enough hype, that should get a lot of hype, is Perry Ellis America, the newest edition of Perry Ellis America. The most luxurious frag that I've ever put on, being that cheap. I feel like it should be hyped to death. I feel like a lot of people say it's a clone of Creed Aventus, and I can agree with that about 30%. But I really feel like it's a lot like there's a Mont Blanc Explorer. A lot of people think that that's a Creed Aventus. It does for like 20 minutes, then it takes off and does its own thing. So at number 12, my favorite frag right now, besides Xerjoff Naxos, is Perry Ellis America. I really, really like this. So now, that leads me to the 13th and the last question on here. This may surprise a lot of people. And a matter of fact, I am going on, I believe this is my 4th bottle. I've decanted some, but nonetheless, I've used it enough before I did reviews and got so many in my fragrance collection. My most used fragrance at number 13 is Narciso Rodriguez for him Blue Noir. If you do not have this musky fragrance in your collection, you are 100% missing out on compliments galore. Every single time that I've ever worn this, I've been told I smell sexy. I know it's by older women than me. I don't care. A compliment to me is a compliment. But you can't go wrong with a Narciso Rodriguez for him Blue Noir. Hands down, the most used fragrance in my collection. That bottle there is empty. It's got a couple sprays left, and that is it. So if you know someone who has a Blue Noir, I'm in the market for it. I will buy it happily. So there's my 13 questions tag. Thank you, John Castro, for hooking me up with the tag. I don't mind tags. I do feel like some are kind of repetitive and ridiculous, and I may refuse them, which I hardly ever do. But I thought this was a real good one. So with that being said, thank you for spending a little time with me, almost 15 minutes of it. This is DB, and I just took you behind the nonsense. Have a good morning, everybody.